Welcome to the Reticle Up podcast, where I, 3-Gun Kenzie, will be interviewing competitive shooters, hunters, fishermen, archers, entrepreneurs, and outdoorsmen. Come learn with me as I interview people from all walks of life, in different disciplines, all across the world, from novices to professionals of all ages. No matter what, everyone has something they can teach you, so come join me on the journey. Welcome back, everyone, to the Reticle Up podcast. I'm here with Steve Cleverley. He is the co-owner of Spectre Holsters. He's a hunter. We've got more entrepreneurship we're talking about today. So welcome, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Pleasure to be here.
Excited for it. Excited. Well, I'm going to dive right into the holsters. I love talking about entrepreneurship, especially in this industry, because it's not easy breaking in.
No.
Not at all. So tell me, what is Spectre Holsters?
The glorified version of it is we are a custom thermoform. That is the bougie way of saying Kydex. Holster manufacturer. Started out in the St. Louis, Missouri area. Long story behind that, but we actually purchased Spectre from John Stevenson, who was a small vendor in the area. Was looking to get out. It was one of those things that kind of fell into our laps. My former partner and I were working at GM, and I think, to be honest, we were on a breakdown. But long story short, he was a gun nut, getting ready to start his FFL, and he just looked at me and said, "Hey," he said, "what do you know about Kydex?" And at that point in time, I knew it was plastic. I knew you heated it up. I knew you molded things around it, right? So we ended up collaborating, taking John over, and started out building holsters in the 6x8 garage.
Wow. Okay. So we don't have to make the long story short. I kind of want to hear the long version a little bit. Were you like an apprentice learning at first, like how to like bend, and like, were you doing the press machine? Like there's vacuum, like I don't know everything about Kydex. So what did you learn?
Well, YouTube is a wonderful thing. No, I'm being serious.
Yeah.
When we took this over, it was okay. Heat of the summer in Missouri. If you've ever been to Missouri in the summer, it's horrible. Mm-hmm. Sitting in his garage, and it was all seriously trial and error, and it was all old school. Throw it together with Home Depot presses. That. But as we grew, that was kind of my baby. I wanted to, and I'm an OCD perfectionist when it comes to a lot of things. So I wanted to make it my baby, make it perfect. I didn't want to be the biggest at that point, but I wanted to be the best. So I took a lot of the tricks of the trade and just kind of went from it with there.
That's awesome. Yeah, YouTube is the way to go for education instead of spending $60,000 to $100,000 on an education these days.
Yes, right.
So other than purchasing that and all the machines, did you have to get any certifications or like any insurance or anything like that for the business side of things? Well,
obviously we've got liability insurance. Yeah. But as far as that, what was nice at that time was, we didn't have to have any certifications. Now, if I want to go for government contracts, I got to get certed in various things and so forth, which is down the pipe. But to this point, we're just trucking right along.
I love it. I love it. So, I mean, a lot of people, they're afraid to start a business, and it's so cool. Or, you don't have to go to college. You can do these things and make decent money at it.
Right. I mean, you take me, for example, back in 2000, a kid with undiagnosed ADD sitting in my dad's office working for him, that's how I got my start in the outdoor industry. I started out as a sales rep covering New York and New England for PSE archery, and it just kind of grew straight up through there. Right. So in the many moons since then, I graduated from archery to, full blown 3-gun. It's unreal.
I hear you. The addiction starts, then there's just a little dip in the water, and then it just spirals out of control.
Yeah. I mean, I went from a sales rep, being on the road 300 days a year, to being a national sales manager for a camouflage company, to moving to the Midwest to guide. I mean, it's come full circle.
Can't wait to get into that. So, go back to the holsters too. Tell me, the normal, what you make, the in the waistband, outside the waistband, maybe something that's unique about your holsters. So for people that are interested.
Well, we truly make the gamut, right? Obviously, everyday carry is huge. So inside the waistband, appendix sidecar, with the spare mag carrier, those have become extremely popular. We do typical outside the waistband. We do dabble, obviously, in the 3-gun tactical game, the big thing for us. But thanks to nightstick weapon lights, we're now starting to get into more of the duty grade holsters. We do level 2, with the hood and so on and so forth. We do full blown battle belts. So it's going through there. Something that's unique with us that I'm coming to see in the industry, and this is actually something that I learned from another holster company. And that's the one thing I love about this industry is if you're not one of the big 2, everybody, bands together, so to speak. But I don't use Kydex. I use a product called Bolteron, which if you go outside, it's the same product that your dashboard's made out of. It's the same stuff that overhead compartments are made out of. It's much more impact resistant. It takes care of the temperature changes. If you're in the cold climate of upstate New York, in the wintertime, it's -4 with 4 foot of snow, or you come down here and it's 104, in the arid desert, that holster is not going to lose shape.
Right.
That is the one thing that I noticed getting into it, that by us heating, especially specialty prints, that holsters, they turned out like garbage, or they were shrinking, or they were losing shape, just literally sitting on the shelf.
Right.
It's something I'm away from. So obviously I go with a much thicker, much more durable material.
That's cool. And you can still do custom prints on that?
Yes, I can. I actually have a guy, Graphic Infusions. He's by far the best in the business. It was funny. You get approached, I'm sure you do being a shooter in this industry, you get approached by so many people, hey, try my stuff. Well, he just up and sent me like 5 prints. And I said, dude, you can do this on 0.093 instead of this industry standard of 0.80. I said, I'll buy your product all day long. He emailed me back, says, done. So I was like, all right, sweet. So a year and a half later, I'm still with Graphic Infusion.
That's awesome. Yeah. Us shooters really like our custom crap.
Yes.
I gotta know, what's been the coolest print or design that you've done?
Addie, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, her new competition rig is Pink Hex. Her boyfriend Andre is Safety Yellow Hex. There's a range in St. Louis called Range St. Louis, oddly enough. There's a shooter there. When we moved into America's Armory back in Missouri, he approached us. He was working at the range. We went in there, set up a dealership. He said, hey, I've got competition rig that I want done. It was purple unicorns with 6'4". I said, dude, he said, who's gonna yell at me for it? All right, I'm good with you.
That's awesome. Oh, I love it. Oh man. So, okay. So you didn't come up with the name of the company either. You kept it?
Yeah, I kept the Spectre portion of it.
Yeah.
But since moving down here, we're kind of migrating from Spectre Holsters. It's kind of really generic. And well, again, I'm OCD. So Sarah and I talked about it, and we said, okay, let's go with Spectre concealment products, because we're not just holsters. We do mag carriers. We do cuff carriers, baton caddies, the whole 9 yards. So
neat. I need a new one for a Sharpie and a spray paint can.
Sad thing is I could probably do it.
So when I'm going downrange and ticking off marks, on the paper, I swear I've walked 100 yards and been like, damn it, and have to come back to get the Sharpie.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay. So did you always, you grew up, obviously, like you said, working for your dad and stuff. Did you plan on ever opening the business or working in the firearms industry at all?
Well, like I said, me sitting there in central New York, working in the construction industry, bored out of my mind, using the degree I actually went for. It fell into my lap. I always wanted to get into archery industry. Back then, I grew up with guns. I didn't have the father that said, hey, let's go shooting. His idea of shooting was going to the golf range. That's what, right, exactly. So, but I did have, best friend's father, he kind of took me under his wing, several, uncles that were into, the hunting and fishing, so I got into that pretty heavy. So when I got into the outdoor field, that was kind of my jump start. Archery was my thing back then, but I always had a love for firearms. It truly was not until I moved to the Midwest, because I got involved with another rep group that did some of the firearms. And it was more so, okay, this is kind of cool, and I've got a lot of friends in the the military field, and we'll just leave it at that. But they were playing with some really cool stuff, and I said, yeah, I think it's time to change things up a bit.
See, I'm going the opposite direction right now. I'm not really, but like I found archery and I'm like, oh my God.
It's a lot of fun, but there again, sending lead down range is there's just something about it, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, quick question real quick. All right. So we're going to choose bow or we're going to choose gun. Ready?
I'm ready. For fun?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're killing me. Probably I'd still have to go with the gun.
Okay. All right. For how about for hunting?
That would be the bow.
Yeah. I figured because that's like harder. It's cooler.
But you also got to realize I hunt with a pistol.
Yeah. My grandpa does that. The giant one with the scope.
Yeah. Mine tend to hurt people's hands.
Oh yeah. Okay. And then bow or gun for competition.
Ooh. See, this is where I kind of fell in love with 3-gun. See, I shot IBO for years. And here's what I noticed, right? You go to an award ceremony for IBO, ASA, FIDA, anything. You will have Matthews shooters, you will have Hoyt shooters, you will have Bowtech shooters literally fighting because you knocked so-and-so's arrow out of the X.
Oh.
They hate each other. The clicks are just horrible. So here I go to Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
First time at a 3-gun match. I'm sitting there with Lima, Charlie, and just having a good time. I went out and started watching these people. Were you there?
I was not, and I'm bummed. That's the Texas match, the rainy one, the one that poured.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I missed it. I'm sorry.
Okay, right. So picture biblical rains, freezing cold.
Mm-hmm.
You had shooters sponsored from all over the world helping each other, cheering each other on. It didn't matter if you missed. They were just having fun. Miserable, but they were having fun. At the end, at the award ceremony, beautiful day. Everybody's hanging around, hugging, having a good old time. That's the kind of shooting family I want.
Okay, so the answer is gun.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. Well, at least we got the bow in there for some of it.
Yeah, right.
So the other thing that I wanted to ask too, again, being an entrepreneur, I remember like that first student that I ever had that I didn't know, right? And that's very big tipping point in an entrepreneur's life. So when you took over the business, like, do you remember your first holster you sold to a stranger?
As a matter of fact, I do, and he's still a customer today. There's a guy by the name of Martin Burkhart, and as soon as he hears this thing, he's probably going to comment on it. But this was it was a science project, and I still have a picture of it on my phone to remind me I don't ever want to go back to that. It was a come and take it holster. The thing looked like I literally pressed it in between 2 mattresses. I mean, it was ugly, right? So yeah, but as I graduated through, he'll call me, hey, I need this. All right, sweet. But that's what I wanted. I wanted my first customer to remain my customer through the rest of the life of the business.
Yeah. Did you do the thing where you like frame the dollar bill or whatever on the wall?
No, yeah, to me that's bad luck. You see too many pizza joints closed down like that. So yeah.
Still, that's really cool. Again, validation. What was that feeling like too when that came in?
It was cool because my partner at the time, Daniel, he goes, hey, he says, we got a holster to make, and we were using another printer. Like I said, it was bad, but I said, okay, that's cool, and we made it, and I fought it. I mean, I fought it like it was Andre the Giant, and it was like, this is done. I was proud of it. And then I looked back at that. I'm like, oh my God, I sold that. And the guy it. But, it's a learning experience. This is like, going into, pottery or something like that. That first bowl is going to look like an elephant. So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, it's like when parents tell their kids, oh, this is beautiful. I'm like, don't lie to them.
Oh, yeah, I know, right?
That's awesome though. Yeah. I mean, again, but that you have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. You have to have that painful experience. And you only get better. So if you don't have a first, you're never going to get there.
Exactly.
So what's the scary side of entrepreneurship that really people don't understand or know about?
It's, obviously, you always want to know when the next sale is going to come through. But what's nice about this is I've got a full-time job outside of this. So I have that backer. Sarah's got a full-time job out there. So she's got her backer. If I were to get to the point where I'd be doing this, 40 plus hours a week now, like I don't already, it would be tremendously scary. I lived through having a family business. Yeah. Luckily ours was just very successful back east, but I took everything that my father had always taught me, and he and I get along like a rattlesnake and a mongoose, but, he's a smart businessman. He truly is. But, I took all the things that I learned from him, and I'm applying them to here. So, it's.
That's awesome. So yeah, you learn entrepreneurship at least from seeing your dad do it.
Yes, exactly.
A lot of people aren't lucky in that. My mom's an entrepreneur. My dad had a night business. So he had real job, of course. And then the night business, he retired after that for like 25 years of doing that. And he's still working a job. But I feel like so many people don't have the encouragement from parents or see, how to be an entrepreneur or what have you. Nowadays, if you could recommend someone who doesn't have that, right? Like you said, YouTube, is that the best place for them to go to learn how to start a business? Maybe?
No. And network. I take a lot of the things that I do here. I've got a good friend of mine, and I know I've got a couple of them, and both of them are very, very smart businessmen. One is very tactically smart in guns, which also helps. Yeah. But I call them, and they're like brothers to me. And I model my ethos for this business around something that I've learned from a Navy SEAL, and what Rourke has taught me over the years. From college on up. I know I can call him at any time. Hey, what do you think about this? Mm-hmm. And he throws some of the weirdest axioms at me, but probably they hit home every damn time.
I love it.
It's one of those things that it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. One that he threw at me, he's like, oh, I had this broad idea, and I'm not even going to go into it, but he said to me, he goes, okay. He says, Custard had a grand idea until he ran up the hill and didn't think about it ahead of time. Yeah, that was a good idea. Okay. Yep. Enough said.
Enough said. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we talk about coaches all the time in shooting. I have mentors. I tell people, like, when people ask me how I got there, I'm like, I'm a product of mentorship. And if you don't seek it, if you don't ask questions, and if you're not open and receptive to it, though, you're not going to go very far.
Exactly. And actually, I found it nice because, Keith from 5150 Rifles called me the other day. He said, hey, he says, I've got a guy that works with me. He also has a real-time job, but there's a kid that works with me. He's 21. He's full of fire. He wants to get in the firearms industry. Do you mind talking to him? Not a problem. I spent an hour on the phone with this cat, and, he's like I was at that age, just full of energy, and he's ready to charge up the hill. It's like, whoa, bro, you got to walk. You're not going to be a millionaire. You're not, the big wigs of the industry yet, and I told him, I said, you want to come to the shop, you want to hang out, you want to learn the ammo with Matt, you want to, learn the holsters with me, just to kind of get your feet wet. That's what I would suggest doing, and that's just, you're spot on. Mentorship is huge.
Absolutely. I don't want to be too negative with this, but getting into the industry, I feel like the deeper I go, sometimes I'm a little bit surprised, right? With like some of the negative stuff, or some of the stuff where I'm like painful about customer service in some places.
Yes.
Where could we do better in the industry? Or, what are some things that you've seen that people should prepare for if they are going to enter the industry?
You're always going to have one customer, and these people are either friendly. I mean, I worked retail when I was a kid, so I mean, it is what it is. They're either call you Satan spawn, or they're going to be like, oh, okay, not a problem. I get both ends of the spectrum, but I'm a firm believer. I stand behind my product 100%. I've remolded holsters because of a cut angle was a little bit off, and they didn't quite like it. Mm-hmm. I could have holstered that day I made it, but because that customer didn't like it, did I ask for the holster in return? No. Mm-hmm. But I've kept these customers because they know that if they have a problem, they can call me direct. Everybody has my cell phone. Hey, I've got a problem with this. Great, no problem.
Yeah. So it's cool when you can pick up the phone, you have the CEO or the co-owner or whatever on the phone, because a lot of companies don't do that. Again, surprising with the customer service.
Well, even some of the bigger companies, even as an end user, I'm not saying holster companies, just companies in general. I like the idea that if I call, I get a voice, and I'm not sitting there in the deadly loop of press 4, to go over here. Next thing you know, Chip is coming on the phone, and he's not from the U.S. So that's unfortunate, but it happened.
Oh man. Okay. Okay. You mentioned Sarah earlier, so I want to give you a chance. Yeah, she's the co-owner, and tell me a little bit about what she does.
Okay. Well, let me. Almost 4 years. Actually, it's been 4 years and some change. All right. Instagram. Again, I was bored. I was at work. Again, ADD. Right. I come across this image that was on her page, and I didn't even realize who she was. And it was of a skeleton with a blue line going down its spine. And have you ever been caught by an image? And it may be not like a train wreck where you got to keep going back and watch, but it's just something that catches your eye and puts something in your heart at that particular moment. I kept going back to it. And about 3 days later, I got the cojones up to reach out to her. And I said, hey, that image is really cool. I'm a holster maker, would you mind me using that image on Kydex? I was using Kydex at the time. And I said, what is this all about? Well, 4 hours later via text message, she told me her story. And I don't know how familiar you are with her, but she was injured in the line of duty. She actually broke her neck.
Wow.
When she filed the workman's comp claim, or was getting ready to file the comp claim, they fired her. Yeah. So bear in mind, this was 4 years ago. She had a 3.5-year-old daughter, single. Again, it was I didn't think, I didn't ask. I just said, I want to help you. What can I do? And I went to work that night, and I said, okay. I said, I'm going to make holsters, and I'm going to find somebody to make shirts, and I am going to donate every bit of profits to an organization. I'm going to give her the money.
That's amazing.
I let her know. And of course, this is via text message at the time. And she said, I can't because of, various things. She said, but I said, okay, pick a charity. And she did. She didn't even hesitate. Peace Officers Angels.
Yeah.
So at the time we were selling really, really cheap, but it took me forever to find shirts to be made. No, it did, because either everybody wanted a massive amount down to do the shirt. They wanted, arm and a leg, basically.
100 or 500 or a
little bit more. Put a 1 on the front of that.
Oh, okay.
So finally, I found a company that would do them. And I tweaked the image a little bit, and there again, I never did anything without her permission. And we came up with Forever Unbroken. And basically it signifies that, an officer, they may be down for the count, injured, but that blue line's never broken. So we came out with that design. She owns it. We just tweaked it a little bit, but in that initial conversation, once she and I kind of warmed up, and, she admits that she stalked my Facebook page and she stalked the Instagram to figure out who I was. But, she told me at that point, she said, I want to invest in a company, when all the dust settles. And I said, oh, that's nice, but I couldn't do that. You need to take care of, her daughter, Kimber, who's just absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
Take first, blah, 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 blah. So of course, life events happen, so on and so forth. And I come down here last October, and that was the first time I'd ever met her in person.
Oh, that's cool. 3 years, 3 years into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Missouri to there, just things happen, but I've never been that close to a person emotionally and spiritually, never meeting them. Mm-hmm. And then when I did, it was end of story. And like I said, a lot of life events were happening at that point. And, she said, you need to get down here. And we hadn't even discussed partnership yet. So, no, I'm being serious.
It's amazing.
Then January, it was around Christmas time. She said, just text me out of the blue. We need to talk. And I'm thinking, oh, hell. She says, I want to be partners. And I went, okay, done.
Okay.
No, I'm being serious.
This is awesome.
I've never been so emotionally tied to someone in a completely platonic way.
Yeah.
She's definitely my ride or die. She's my best friend, and I wouldn't do anything without her.
I love it.
But, I came down here, interviewed for a job. They offered it to me that day. All the signs were pointing.
Went there. Yeah.
So April 15th, I had a Jeep full of 5 years of holster making, and came down here without a shop. And literally I scrambled, lived in a hotel for a few weeks, and, finally met at R2 Ammo, which is right here in Liberty Hill. Mutual friends, some Jeep people. Matter of fact, my instructors, and we'll get into that in a bit. They actually teach out of his classroom where I'm sitting right now.
Oh, neat.
He's also an instructor. He does everything from LTC straight up to level 4 private security. He's
Legit.
But he makes some of the best ammo that I've ever shot. It's clean. It's consistent as hell. Matter of fact, he sponsored 3-Gun Daniel for a number of years.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, he, graciously said, "Hey, I've got a spot for you out back." And he's become like a brother to me. He's a smart aleck brother, but he's a brother to me.
You need that.
Yes, I do. Someone needs to keep me in check. Yes.
So that's really hard. When it comes to entrepreneurship, you really don't get the luck of the draw in finding business partners sometimes.
No, you don't. And here's the thing. I mean, when I was up in Missouri, I have a good friend of mine who runs Blue Line Tactical Academy out of Jerseyville, Illinois. He's a Jerseyville cop, but he's also an instructor. And one night we were on the phone together. I was working at Olin Brass at the time, and he said that, "Hey, I want to run something by you." And I said, "Okay." And the SHOT Show had just gotten canceled. And, yeah, right.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was hell. So, but the big thing is he says, "You know what?" He says, there's not enough people in our industry because we're getting literally bombarded at every angle from antis. Yeah. He says, "There's too many people bashing each other. Why can't we all just kind of get together and, hey, promote this and take care of each other instead of trying to bash each other?"
Yeah.
So, we kind of took it, a little steps here and there, but he ended up hosting a couple of events at some ranges out there that got 2A companies from around the area just to come to have mini SHOT Shows.
Cool.
And it was, and that's actually where I made a lot of my contacts. But,
yep.
I kind of took that step a little bit further. I've been in this industry longer than I care to admit, but those relationships, like I talked about before, are so key. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got relationships from when I was a rep in 2000 that are still friends of mine. Copper John and Stanislavski. I can call the Springers anytime, and anytime I'm in New York and go have beers with them.
That's so cool.
But what I did, and I shouldn't say it was, I don't do anything without Sarah's approval, but we created a secondary company called Sierra Delta Specialty Products. I don't take a dime from anybody that is in this group. Basically, it's companies that have been with me from day one, but it's also smaller companies that are having trouble getting off the ground.
Right.
So, and it's based off of battle buddy principle. If your battle buddy's in the ditch and, he's hurt and he can't get his feet underneath him, you know what? Everybody rallies around him. Yep. And, you get him up to the point where he can get back into the fight on his own, and then you go about your business. And that's what I wanted to instill. I wanted to instill the family. I didn't want, guys like, I'll use Hold the Line Blades as an example. The guy makes absolutely beautiful knives, but he's a small shop. So, let's link him up with like Rocker Locker and these other guys that maybe can help him. They'll promote him on social media and do things for him. So.
Yeah. And all of us need a little bit of a lift from these bigger companies for sure. So, okay. So Sierra Delta Specialty Products, I know you mentioned that. I don't know enough about it. You're saying like you're selling or getting them all at least visually out there for people, and you don't take like that affiliate fee or all that stuff.
Yeah. For a dime from these companies. What's nice about it, I mean, from being in multi-gun, the sponsorship fees are sometimes a little up there. But what's nice is I can go into a match, and for prize tables, hey, I'm going to a match, anybody want to chip in, sound off, and I'll get raw coffee, and I'll get stuff from Nightstick or these various other companies. There's toss in the giveaway type stuff. Mm-hmm. And you know what, it helps get their name out there. But I always tell them, if I go to an event or if I do a benefit, it's not just me and it's not just Sarah, it's the whole group.
Yeah.
So they give me the typical ambassador codes, Spectre 10 or whatever it is, that I use or I promote when I'm posting stuff on social media. The latest and greatest one, actually the second to latest greatest one, is Active Carry Technologies. Bill Active Carry makes by far the best med kits in the industry, but he and I swear share the same brain. because he's like I am as far as, the promoters and the influencers, they've got to become customers, and then they become friends, and then they can promote.
Yeah.
That's just the way that it should be.
Yep. I love those people that come out of nowhere. Hey, can I just get this and this free thing and this? And I'm like,
yeah, exactly. Right. But and then Radco Lube, everybody knows Brian, he's the face of 3Gun.
Yeah.
But what's nice about him is not only do they make the best product in the industry, but he needed someone because he, just wanted to get the name out there. So every holster that goes to every customer I have is going to have their 1 ounce sample in it.
Oh, cool.
And I swear by that stuff. It saved my butt several times.
I love it.
Yeah, no, it is. It's fantastic product. So, that's what I'm all about with Sierra Delta, is promoting. The second thing that's about is our national instructor network.
Okay.
And it goes back into the stuff with Rich Portwood from Blue Line. Is I wanted to create just an avenue that if customers are coming to the Spectre site, or they're coming to the Sierra Delta site for whatever reason, and they went out and bought a gun, they want to buy a holster. Okay, they buy the holster. Well, where the hell am I going to get trained?
Yeah.
They go on there, they can search by state, find reputable instructors that I personally know.
Love it.
They can go and get training, the right training.
Yeah.
I've got 2 here in Texas that I swear by. They're dear friends of mine. Matt's one of them. But in New York, I've got an avenue for people in New York that, I can send. Latest and greatest is New Hampshire, Homefront firearm training. That guy's awesome. But there again, he started out as a customer.
Yep.
And then I go through, and you know what? Every one of them, I said, if you want to come audit my class, go for it.
That's awesome. And the other thing too, I don't know if you consider doing, is taking or having like a forum and having people recommend people. Cause I know a couple, and again, I'm an instructor myself. So, and I have seen instructors, I actually just wrote about instructors just wanting to make a buck. It's like, don't go there.
Right. No. And that's what bothers me. I took the time, spent the money. I went and got certified as a basic pistol instructor. I sat through Diversified Defense, which is Vic and Julie. They teach out of here as well. I actually sat through their LTC class, and I was in awe, because in a good way, in awe, because they took the curriculum that you and I both learned, and they applied it, and it held everybody's attention, even mine, and I'm they're going squirrel. But it's, they do it in such a manner that, a basic shooter will grasp it, up to, the tactical guy that, thinks he needs to, have a battle rig to go, take an LTC class. Don't get me wrong, I've seen a lot. But yeah, they do it right. But then again, I've seen some ones that you look online and you see, okay, $100 for an LTC class. No, we don't provide ammo. We don't provide this. We don't provide that, but you're going to get this. Well, okay, dude, where do you get your training? I'd love to see you run a class. I really would.
That's the thing that a lot of people don't do. They don't ask questions of their instructors. They don't vet their instructors. And then these instructors, they water down the prices too. It's not about the money at the end of the day, right? But if you're seeing a class for like the concealed carry, right, it's like $15, $20. Like my time probably gonna be $100, but it's because I've got insurance, I've got a range rental, I know a crap ton. I'm gonna give you everything I can in 4 or 5 hours that I can.
Yeah.
But people don't ask enough, and these instructors are like, yeah, I shoot a lot. I'm like, what's a lot? You have to ask them, define a lot. 500 rounds a year. Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
That's a practice session.
Right. And that, you're spot on correct, because, you get a lot of these instructors that, they think they're going to get rich at this. I didn't get into this business to get rich. I didn't want to become an instructor to get rich, and, I learned firearm safety from my uncle years ago, down in Catskills on my grandpa's farm. That's how long this was. But this guy was a safety Nazi, and wasn't until about 5 years ago I realized why. And he worked for a certain 3-letter designation that I will not divulge at this moment, but he was that way. And when I went and took my NRA cert, and you're going through the demos, going through it, my instructor looked at me, goes, "Where the hell did you learn that?" And I said, "That's what's been ingrained in me since day one." He goes,
right.
"That's way above what we're teaching here. And I said, I will teach that to anybody.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's above their pay grade. I mean, that's the thing with some organizations too. They don't have the budget. And then those people whose lives are the lines too. I mean, it sucks, but you would think that they would want to get proper training outside of that too, even if it costs.
well, and it's not just the instructors. Some of these RSOs that I've seen at these classes are just scatterbrained.
Yes.
Hello, you have my safety, your safety, and your instructor safety in check here.
Yeah. Yeah. I can keep going about that. But at the end of the day, our tip is go to your network, find out, instructors that you recommend, maybe have like a forum for other people to recommend people, or at least, in our community, but vet your instructors, folks.
Yes. I mean, we've got a great group, within our tight little network that we've got now, as far west as Washington, far east is New Hampshire. I mean, it's growing slowly but surely, but, and I've just added Range 702 out in Las Vegas to that network. So yeah, Chris is doing a great job out there. She's got a great crew. So
that's very cool. And yeah, for people listening too, just because it's convenient doesn't mean it's a good one.
Yeah, definitely research.
Yeah, for sure. I did want to ask you too. There's a lot of people out there making holsters, right? And people are particular about their holsters. I just want to know, what's the biggest challenge about the space? Like you said, competition kind of with the little guys, and competition with the big guys, how do you deal with all of that?
The little guys, I'm not so much worried about.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to sound egotistical when I say that. It's try my product, test it against anything you can put it against. I'm going to warranty it. See, that's the big thing. And you can probably attest to this, right? You've got a drawer and it's probably right there by your vise. Yeah. That has a bucket full of holsters, everything from EDC straight up through your competition rigs. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're nodding your head. Yeah.
Like I literally, it's in those 3 drawers.
Yeah. Okay. My big thing is I don't want mine to end up in said drawer. So
those are the people that they can borrow stuff.
All right. Yeah, exactly. Here, you need one for range? Okay, go for it. I will tell you this, that probably the most recent compliment that I got as far as this is concerned is I sent a holster to a certain young lady. And I said, because where she lives, it's hotter than hubs of hell. So I said, your shit's going to literally, fold into a ball one of these days. I sent it out to her and she was doing literally a test by test next to it. And she's like, I can't believe the difference. That's what I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
I put a lot of time, not that I really mind. I actually love doing it. It's like my woosah time.
Oh God. Yeah.
Turn on music and just let it roll. But, as far as the little guys, I've got a lot of friends that I guess you could call the quote little guys, not in the big 3, if you will.
Yeah.
They're, again, our community, and it's not everyone, but it's a good portion of them all stand together, which is really, really weird. But I can call up like Folster. I can call up him. Matter of fact, he made me a custom wood sign for Sarah's Christmas present.
Oh, cool.
Long Shadow Holsters. He's the one that turned me on the bolt around.
Oh, neat. Okay.
These guys are great. Weber Tactical was my neighbor in Missouri.
Oh, Adam. That's cool.
Yeah. So, but his niche wasn't mine. Mm-hmm. So it worked out good. His customers may not have been mine. I was more into the custom stuff, and so forth. But, I use a holster maker to make my molds in New York.
Yeah. So you're supporting, more people too.
Yeah. And it's not, and don't get me wrong, we do sometimes have to go to the big 2 for parts, but, it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, absolutely. That's awesome though. Typically too, when people get into the industry too, they don't ask themselves like, okay, how am I going to deal with competition? How am I going to differentiate myself? How am I also going to be friendly with those other ones? Like, I am even like I said, with instructors, I have competition around here, but it's like, hey, you can take me or you can go to him and learn rifle or defensive or whatever. But and the best test of holsters, by the way, is 3-gun.
Exactly. IDPA style. Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah, I break everything.
Well, I can willing to bet that there's a 3-letter. Never mind. I'm not going to go there.
Okay. All right, moving on.
Yeah.
Then, okay, so I want to dive into the hunting stuff. So I haven't had a lot of hunters on. I'm bit the bug. I wish I will have hunting property one day. I love it. But you grew up hunting. What all have you hunted? What age did you first start? All of that.
I've hunted deer, turkey, bear, obviously small game, upland, that type of thing. The only thing I haven't done, and I've got a friend of mine who was an outfitter out in Arizona and New Mexico. He's dying for me to come out there and do mountain lion and elk with him.
Yes.
That will happen. It's on my bucket list.
Yes. The elk meat is so good.
Just caribou is another one I want to do. Living in Texas, I will hog hunt this year. Matt actually guides for property up north, and it's unlimited hogs, so I will go do that this winter.
Yes.
But
bow or gun or both.
Well, let's see. Killed the bear with a bow. Killed numerous deer with a bow. Never killed turkey with a bow. That'd be fun. But yeah, anything with 4 legs, I probably have shot at with a bow and tried it. But
that's so cool.
Yeah, and I got started in hunting. Gosh, I think I was 14.
Nice.
Yeah, so I've been doing it for a long time.
Was that dad or grandpa again that got you out there?
Neither. Yeah, it was friends' dads actually. Okay. I get into art. It was one of those things that, again, undiagnosed ADD at that age. But my friend's dad, I bought a bow. It was just a little El Cheapo. Well, his son was getting into it. Took us up to the local archery range, and at that time, I was living in central New York. It was nice. So they could drop us off for the day and kids could shoot for free as long as they wanted. So I, there again, became addicted. But, the bug bit me hard. So then, but the guys that own that archery range designed the original 090 Eagle.
Really?
Yes.
In New York?
Yes. Oneida Indians. Yeah. But 2 guys had designed it. This is before Claude bought them out in the whole 9 yards. So of course, that was actually my first compound bow, was an 090 Eagle from that shop.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is like the bougie country club. I got dropped off at the tennis courts. You got dropped off at an archery range?
Well, hello.
What is that?
Tennis. Bad at tennis.
No, terrible at tennis. That's all they did. Thanks, Mom, Dad. Okay, do you remember your first kill and the weight or anything like that, or what it was?
It was a gun kill. I was 16 years old. It was a doe. Freaked the hell out. We had a tradition, and I've tried to keep this tradition as long as I can. Thanksging Day, Thanksgiving, that weekend, because it was always a long weekend. From the age of 15 on up, it was deer hunting. That's all I've done. Mm-hmm. I was out there with my friend Brian and another kid and doing a deer drive like he always did back in the day. And the doe came running by me. It's hell bent for election, and had a 20 gauge that, funny enough, I won playing golf with my. Yeah, that was a bet he never thought he'd win. And yeah, that was my first kill, was a doe with a shotgun.
Was it buckshot then, or you slug?
No,
slug. Cool. That's badass, actually. That's different. Oh man. And so, like, do you still get like giddy, nervous, excited when an animal walks out?
Yeah, I've become more of the trophy hunter since coming out here. And it started like the tail end of my tenure in New York, and getting into the industry. I was awestruck. My first ATA show, I walked in and there's Stan Potts at the High Country booth. And I was just like, oh, him and Mark and Terry Drury and all these guys that I've been watching. Roger Ragland, funniest guy in the world. But I watched them growing up, and they're killing these big deer. And that's what drew me to the Midwest. But yeah, no, if I see legs coming through the woods, doesn't matter if I've got a bow with me or my pistol, it's getting exciting. Then I make the decision if I'm going to take that animal. If I do, then well, it's on. But it usually does not hit me until after the lead's downrange and that arrow's released, that it's like, oh shit. But yeah.
And then the work begins.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you have a story of like having to track an animal or having to schlep through the woods to go find it?
Yeah. Probably, yeah, I already know this one. Yeah, in 2006 or 7, I think it was 7. I shot a buck at like 3 steps, and then another reason why I'll never shoot mechanical broadheads ever again. But I watched this thing fall on top of the hill. I'm thinking, booyah, this thing's done. Waited the hour, and I got down, walked up the hill, found a ton of blood, nothing, no deer, no nothing. I'm like, how is this thing alive?
Wow.
So I tracked it down to blood drops. And finally I was like, okay, got my grips about me and so on and so forth. And I tracked this thing for 2 miles, and that arrow, it wasn't like a 2-mile trek. It was just up and down these hills. And I'm thinking, holy crap.
Right. No, walking 2 miles sucks though.
Yeah. And especially when you walk up on it and it's looking at you going, hello.
Did you have a sidearm with you?
It was bow season.
Oh.
The truck.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had to back out, walk across the ridge down to get my bow, come back and shoot it again. But yeah, it only took out one blade open. Yeah, that sucks.
That does.
But probably the hardest work that I've had to do for an animal. Probably my oh shit moment was I was up in Canada on a bear hunt, and up there it's almost, you're hunting over bait, which is cool, because when you look, you pull into camp and the guide says, okay, well, your bait's in that semi right there. Well, what is it? And he says, expired gummy worms.
Spider gummy worms?
Expired, like out of date. And are you shitting me? He says, no, they're in a barrel. Just make sure you put a head net on. Their yellow jackets everywhere. I'm like, oh shit. Probably the aha oh shit moment was watching. I had a sow and 2 cubs come in, and they're sniffing around. Well, this cub is the size of a pug, and he picks this log up that took me and the other guy I was with to get it over the top of this bait pile. And he just tossed it like it was a bowling pin.
You're like, okay, it's not a small animal.
Yeah, I'm like, no, this thing can eat me. So, and then watching, a sow and a boar absolutely go toe to toe because of this cub, and then shooting the boar at 3 yards with a bow. That was cool.
That's awesome.
But,
that's so cool. Your bow setup. So what bow do you hunt with? What poundage do you have it set up? Like, okay, if someone was new listening to this, what is the setup so they can learn?
You need to shoot something that you're comfortable with. If you can stand flat-footed, arm extended out, and draw the bow smoothly without sticking it up in the air, sticking your foot underneath it, and damn near I'm being facetious, but yanking your rotator cuff out of joint to get the thing to break over, it's not the bow for you. But you need to be able to draw it smoothly. Now, I shoot 75 pounds. I have been since forever, but the elite that I'm shooting currently, I'm probably going to get something different, but again, it's a bug. But the bow that I'm shooting now draws like it's 65 pounds.
Yeah, it feels good.
Right. So, but that bow right there, I've killed numerous deer with it. It's done me well for a number of years, but it's time to retire the old relic and probably get something new and exciting and lightning fast.
Yeah.
That little Napoleon complex comes out come archery season.
It does. I did I went with the elite. I went with the best, right? Spent money, but man, I was doing the tipping the thing first because someone had taught me that. And then now I do draw straight back. That's the proper way to do it. But it's getting so light because my arm is worked up to, I do it every day, an hour.
Yep. That's good.
I need to get up to 60 pounds, 70 pounds, maybe, but I'm at like 50. So I got to go up.
You know what? You look at Ted Nugent, he's down. Obviously he's up there in years, but he's still a legend. He's blowing through animals at 50 pounds.
Yeah.
Plenty of ladies that are shooting 50 pounds and just absolutely killing it. So
yeah, still it's got, you gotta have a badass factor.
Okay. So during your competition friendly, are you ever going to archery competitions?
Yeah. So I actually reached out to ASA Tennessee or whatever. They've got some stuff getting started. I honestly don't, this is the difference. And I will tell you this, and now people on the podcast, I commented on like some Facebook stuff and asked how to get started. Nobody responded. Nobody got back. Somebody else was like, yeah, I don't know how either. So I don't know how to sign up. what division, like what to pay. Do I need a membership? And I know there's IBO and anyways, I don't know where to go, and I'm dying to go.
Okay. Local, probably the biggest thing is go to a local archery range, outdoor range, preferably. Most of the time they're going to have local shoots. So that's where I would get started. That's how I started, was just going to these gun clubs that threw shoots on Saturday and Sunday. Okay. Then what you'll find is like there'll be qualifiers for ASA, you know, the Triple Crown or what have you at various, you know, bigger clubs. That's what I had to do with the IBO, is rather than shoot the Triple Crown, because I was working full time, is I would shoot the qualifier matches at the various archery ranges. Mm-hmm. And that's how I would qualify for the Worlds.
Oh, okay. So you didn't have to go. Interesting. Right. I know that we have local, like Orso, where I shoot guns, has archery range, but they don't have shoots on their calendar. But yeah, I'll look around. But yeah, I'm gonna compete. Of course I am, because I don't do anything without competition.
Well, you know, you've got it in your blood. That's why I was asking.
Yeah. I when I volunteered yesterday at the Boy Scout camp, they're like, wow, everything's competition to you. I was like, yeah, I have to score, I have to pace, I have to do this, I'm gonna do it all, and I'm gonna beat you to the target to pace it. It's just because I have to do something.
Yeah, when you sit there and you're actually mapping out the actual range, you're like, what are you doing? Well, I'm just walking the stage.
It's a good time. Okay, back to the deer and turkeys and all that good stuff too. Did you ever like gut your first one or learn how to do all of the field dressing, all that stuff?
Oh yeah.
Early on?
I'm sorry?
Oh, is that early on, like when you were a kid still or teen?
Yeah, I was driving, so I was 16. So, you know, the guy that I was with, oddly enough, he's in the military, but he was going to school for registered nurse. I'd never gutted an animal in my life. He's just like, here you go, here's a knife, I'll walk you through it. And, you know, of course, being medical, he's like, okay, so you know, this membrane here, da, da. I'm like, Brian, just cut it out, man. You know, I just tell me how to get through this. So yeah, that was always fun. But yeah.
Is it weird that I enjoyed it, like learning and knowing how to do it?
Oh, it is the coolest thing in the world until you hit the paunch, and then that's just a whole nother ball. But no, it is cool to see, you know, the various organs. You know, we did this in school, you know, blow up the cow lung, all that other stuff. But it's like, ooh, this is cool, squishy.
This is legit. I like the cracking of the legs and it's not okay. I was like, these are the ones that we clip our yard with.
Yeah, Sarah called me a masochist when I sent her a picture of one of my deer. Yeah, it was funny.
Oh yeah, somebody thought that I was gonna like throw up and puke because I don't like blood, but I was like, this is an animal that I'm gonna eat, so I do respect it, right? In that nature. Yeah. And I do want to learn. I don't want somebody else to do it for me. If I can do it, I want to learn.
Yeah.
So what do most people like not understand about hunting? I know we get a stigma sometimes, right? Or like these people that are eating garbage ass meat and chickens that are, you know, shoved into close quarters, just disgusting stuff, right? When we're doing the humane way to kill an animal, we're conservative about like what we kill, right? Anyways, going into all of that, what do you wish more people understood?
I wish they would understand that these farms that are raising stuff for Kroger and Walmart and all these other places are pumping their animals full of just nasty, right? It's stuff that I don't want in my body at all. You know, wild game, it's what the lay of the land is. You know, it's corn in the Midwest, it's soybeans. You know, I couldn't believe we actually had corn down here. I was actually impressed with that. You know, but you know, we planted food plots, so it was turnips and radishes and kale of all things, right? So you know, they're getting that high protein, high nutrient diet. You know from experience, you know, you skin a deer, and unless it's going to be like a blistering cold winter, there's zero fat.
Yeah.
So it's by far the best red meat for you that you can possibly get. You know, I know, you know, in kind of trying to get back to the old fighting weight and so forth, that, you know, I've stopped eating red meat that comes out of a store unless I go more organic or something like that.
Or butcher that has, something right. Yeah.
But, you know, even turkey, you know, you look at a wild turkey and it's not white meat. I mean, it's because they're out running. It's not like they're in a coop, you know, sitting there chilling with their friends. You know, they're out there, you know, trying to stay away from coyotes and everybody else.
They're so mean.
Well, no, I'm serious.
No, I know, but they're so mean. I love turkeys, watching them.
Oh, I know, they're fun, but you know, the ugliest bird in the world. But it's that, you know, we're going out. You know, I used to donate a deer a year to the Hunter Feed the Hungry. That's awesome. Because you know, might be 80 pounds worth of ground meat, but it's going to keep somebody, fed. It's going to keep the kids, from getting sick and so on and so forth. That's what's important.
Yeah. And there was like the meat that people didn't pick up at the process or whatever, they donate to people who can't eat the different meat or whatever. So that was really cool to see too.
Yeah.
Do you know how to call a turkey or turkey call?
Yes, I do.
How do you do it? Do you do the mouth thingy?
I do the mouth thingy, I do the slate thingy, and I do the box thingy.
Okay, I don't understand how to mouth call like without choking.
Well, you're not supposed to inhale it, Kenzie. But no, it is. It's tough. I mean, if you've got a small palate, you obviously need to trim the call and so forth. Again, blessed because living in New York State, there was a game call company called Logic Game Calls. He's not in business anymore, unfortunately. But he was amazing. And his calls, I still use them today. I mean, it was great. But, it's, he kind of taught me how to do the whole mouth call because I sound like a starving chicken trying to, get a meal. But, it was just a lot of practice. I had a buddy of mine from Syracuse that we turkey hunt every day on school. So, we kind of, bounced ideas and tried different things. And surprisingly, we killed birds, but, it was a good time.
It's easier with two people, right? Having someone call for you.
It not necessarily.
Okay.
It's tough because then you start confusing the birds. No, I'm being serious.
I gotta giggle at this.
And then it never fails that your buddy's going to shoot the bird over the top of you, and then that just ends up an argument.
True. Okay, that's fair. So call yourself. And the box call, though, if you're doing the box call, how can you have your gun up? Like, how does that work?
The box call has such a volume on it. That's more if you see a bird like, 200 yards away, you just want to get his attention and get him coming your way.
Okay. Fair enough. I need to learn how to do that. Okay. So going back to like the hunting guide experience. Yeah. What was that like?
It was cool. And again, this all started with networking, right? And back in 2000, when I was a rep, I was at Harrisburg Sports Show, and it was, I'd seen this lodge on TV and so on and so forth. Booked a hunt with Heartland Lodge in Pike County, and that place is just amazing. No, it is. I gained 15 a week. The food was just unreal, but the hunting was spectacular as well.
Wait, but the food, did they actually use like the animals that they hunted?
No.
Okay.
This is gourmet friggin' meals.
Oh.
And, it's all home style, it's so good.
But potatoes, yeah.
So, that experience was fantastic. So I'm at Harrisburg, and a buddy of mine was guiding. Actually, a guy that worked for Copper John was guiding for Gary. So I'm at the booth, I'm just talking. I said, well, why don't you let me come out and guide? He says, well, we got a spot for turkey season. If you want to come out and guide then. I said, sure, no problem. Mm-hmm. Went guided, fell in love with the place. I said, okay. Gary says, well, what do you think? I said, let's do it. He says, all right, be out here in July. So that next July, I came out and started hanging stands for Harpo's Heartland Lodge up in Pike County.
When you say came out, did you move? Did you rent? Like,
from Syracuse, New York to Nebo, Illinois, which is the size of this classroom.
What?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
It was one of those things that I was a sales rep. Yeah. So the rep group I was with, they're like, okay, well, so-and-so's quitting. So, you can take that territory if you want it. So I was like, sweet. But, yeah, I guided for Gary for a couple seasons, and, it was really cool. I got to meet a lot of cool people.
I bet. And what's that experience like when you have a kid that comes out, right? Or the family, or the first time that they've killed a turkey? What's that like?
Killing turkeys, I guided deer, I guided upland, I guided everything for them, but the turkeys were really cool. But guiding a small child or the son of one of your hunters is in the woods, and you tell him, okay, be really, really still, and you hear him scratching and doing this, and True. It's just not good. But we had a couple first time bow hunters out there that they connected, and the look on their face was just ungodly. It was just wonderful.
So cool. That's really neat. What's like the best experience or the best story for a guide that you've done?
We had a guy from New Jersey. He was hunting one of my farms, and his son was adjacent to him. He killed a decent buck. So, shotgun season, we all kind of just throw our farms into a pot, because in Illinois, it's a draw system for counties and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So I'm riding out there, and we go walking down, and, his son says, yeah, I got one good. He says, but I heard Dad shoot. Okay. So we load up his deer in my buddy's truck. We go up to the next hill. We go walking down, and there's old Joe up on the top of the deer stand. And I said, Joe, you shoot? He says, yep, he's dead right up there. It's the biggest buck I'd ever seen in my life.
Really?
I didn't know he was this before trail cameras and all this other nonsense.
Wow.
And it was a 194-inch whitetail, just an absolute monarch.
Wow.
And we get back and, taking pictures in the whole 9 yards. And Joe looks at me, he goes, you think if I buck next year, I can get a bigger one?
What?
Exactly what I said. I'm like, man, we'll work on it. Yeah. I mean, he's the old guy from New Jersey. He didn't know any better. But yeah, that was cool. Probably the coolest guiding experience I had was I guided a guy to his turkey grand slam for North America. So we got to be on Mossy Oak video. That was pretty cool.
So for people listening, can you explain what that is? Some people don't know. Triple slam.
For any kind of slam is you have to kill X amount of animals that are within that species in North America, is basically what it boils down to.
Yeah, it's really, really fun. The other one I wanted to ask is like your favorite hunt, or have you already talked about it? Like your favorite hunt experience?
My favorite hunt was 2000. It was either 99 or 2000 Thanksgiving morning, back east New York. My best friend, longtime friend of mine, came up from Virginia. I grew up hunting and fishing with this kid, and went out, 2 foot of snow on the ground, in central New York, of course. He's got, he's insulated, but not so well, and as it always has, the deer's going to come out with either nature's calling or you're drinking a cup of coffee. Mine happened to be coffee. And it was my biggest New York buck to date. So I shoot him, I pop one in him. He runs, drops. Like, all right, cool. Well, he's just sitting there, and I'm like, all right, I'm cold as hell. I'm just going to admit it. So I pop another round into him. And at that time, he was using little 2-way radios. And he's like, what the hell are you shooting at? I'm like, he's big and he's down. Get your ass up here. Now Mike was a very, he was an oak tree. He was 6 foot and solid muscle, head to toe, right? World-class lacrosse player back east. He was just a massive man. So he gets there and, take the pictures and so on and so forth. Now where we were, we had, again, 2 foot of snow on the ground, but we had to get him up out of this bottom. I'm struggling. I was in good shape. He just hands me his gun. He says,
picks him up.
He took a strap and just literally hoisted it over his shoulder, walked it like it was a sack of potatoes up this hill. And I'm like, what the? No. So yeah, that was probably most memorable, but it wasn't memorable because of that. It was memorable because I lost him in 2006.
Oh, that's a good story then. That's so funny. I'll pick him up. I got this, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So Mike's been with me on every hunt. Actually, when he got married in 2005, it was myself. It was actually that Navy SEAL I was talking about. It was me, it was Rourke, and 2 of our other guys. He got us all buck hunting knives that had our name etched in them. That knife right there has got more deer in the last 15 years than anything.
That's super cool. That's a good memory. Those experiences are stuff that I think generations are going to lose. So 2 questions for that. What's the biggest barrier people have to go hunting, and how can they overcome it and just make it happen?
Some of it is the stigma. What I dislike is the way that the media is spinning, not only just firearms, but the hunting industry as a whole. I don't see it obviously down here, and I didn't see it in Missouri because that's part of the lifestyle, right?
Right.
Growing up in central New York, it wasn't so much as bad, but you still get that stigma, and a lot of it's in the school systems. In Pennsylvania, I know a lot of schools closed down for deer season. It's like a state holiday up there.
It's like Mardi Gras in Alabama and Mississippi and Louisiana.
Pretty much, yeah. But it's a holiday to them, and to me that breeds success, right? You make it positive. But there again, I saw a lot of kids growing up that, I run into friends' offspring down here of all places that, they were never into it up there because their parents, they didn't do it. So they didn't learn it.
Yeah.
I think that the adrenaline junkies and the adrenaline people that once they try it, they're going to fall in love with it.
It's awesome. Yeah. And you said spot on. It goes back to the entrepreneurship thing too. Sometimes it feels like when we're raised as kids, like we're going to take our parents' religion or we're going to do what our parents did. I mean, we're breaking that now, right? But it's like, and we're going to have a job if they had a job, and we're not going to take risk. And it's the same thing with hunting. Like we won't even think about outside of our comfort zone or how we were raised. And so it has to start with someone, and we have to share this, whether we're family or not. Right. And that's why I'm trying to learn everything I can, bring it back to people, do everything I can. I have one life and I am an adrenaline junkie, but that's hard. Yeah.
It is. And it's difficult, especially in our industry, because, what I do on a daily, I promote firearms, I promote firearm industry and related people. It might not be for everybody, but I'm not going to criticize you. Hey, it might not be your shtick,
right? But
you know what? I'm not going to bash you for, going shopping, 15 days out of the week, that type of thing. I dislike shopping and the worst thing, but if it's not your thing, that's great, but it is mine. So respect for you, you should have respect for me.
I agree. That's well said. So going back to getting in hunting, what do you recommend someone do if they want to go, have no clue where to start, kind of like the archery, right? Where do they go? What resources can they look up in their state or online to find a place to go?
Well, obviously, I'm a big proponent of the safety courses. Obviously, growing up in New York, we had them. They have them down here. Yep. Start talking with the conservation departments, especially kids. A lot of the conservation departments will do outdoor days
and junior days. Yeah, that's like, yeah.
Scouts, obviously, that's a huge thing. But I know in Missouri, and I haven't researched it in Texas, but they would allow adult hunters to take kids out. Cool. So you could sign up as being like a mentor or a big brother, if you wanted to call it that. Cool. And, get the kids involved, whether it's, shooting sporting clays or, going rabbit and squirrel hunting or anything else like that. Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, that's the big thing. If you want, there's always going to be somebody that, is willing to lend a hand. But there again, it goes back to, okay, is it your drunk uncle that, goes to the family functions every 2 weeks? Or is it going to be somebody that, you go to a gun shop like, where I'm at now, that's, Matt can say, okay, well, I recommend so-and-so to take you out.
Yeah.
That's a little bit different.
Yeah. And like for hunters listening, right, we need to make it professional or legit, or at least like a good experience and not some like, let's go get drunk and do this.
Exactly. But no, in reality though, especially with kids, I don't recommend taking them out in the dead of winter.
No, they're not gonna have fun.
Exactly. But take them out when they're not either sweating their ass off or freezing their ass off. And you know what? Make it fun.
Yeah.
But teach them along the way.
Yeah.
Teach them woodsmanship.
Don't do it for them, please.
Probably the coolest thing that I've seen, and this goes back to a deer hunt at Heartland. We had a kid track his dad's deer for him.
Really?
Yeah. And this kid was like a bloodhound, but he was, and he'd never done it. Could spot color very, very well.
Yeah.
And he knew right away how to do it.
That's so cool. Yeah. When you get them engaged, like, yeah, I'm on it. It's mission.
Yep.
Rather than just watching people do it, And even if they fail, failure is part of it.
You know what? Failure's not bad. It just proves that there's a problem. You've got to fix it.
Yep. Yeah. I won't name names, but they know who they are. Fishing side of things. I told someone I will teach them, right? I helped them out the first time. And I said, you're not allowed to fish with me if you can't bait your own hook and get the fish off. If it's not of good size, you're not going to keep it. And what do? They catch fish and they don't know how to take it off. And it's like, that's not okay. You can't let that animal die or suffer or whatever, because if you're not prepared to take a life, even a small fish, I mean, seriously, I'm like, you're done. You're not allowed to fish with me. And that's across the board. I don't care if you're squirmish. I don't care if you don't like fish, like you're out.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, that reminds me of a funny story, because we were up in Canada. Actually, it was my friend Mike's dad. And the guy I was in the boat with, it was a fly-in trip. So, of course, you're pretty much stuck with these 5 guys. But the guy I was in the boat with, same thing, would not take a fish off the hook. And we were in this portage area where we just kind of went in. We're catching pike like it was no tomorrow. He reels a fish right up to the top of the rod and just sticks it in my face. I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
Take care of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he didn't have a clue. I was just like, oh man. So yeah, I get it.
You know, at least if I teach, right, then you can do it. I'm not expecting you to know everything out the gate, but I'm not doing it for you.
Right.
What's your favorite fish to catch, by the way?
I love saltwater fishing. Stripers are probably my big thing, but I like doing it on a fly rod.
I haven't done that yet. And you tie like an actual fly and
it is probably my favorite thing in the world to do is fly fish. Fishing wild trout is unreal.
So cool. If we're ever in the same place, I want to do that.
Absolutely. You're in a great spot for it in Tennessee also. I
know. I need to go and figure out public land. That's your thing. Look up your public land resources.
Yes.
I'm jumping around a bit, but you mentioned the good thing that I want to bring up is the conservation aspect, right? How important is it to, like, yeah, you kill your first animal, you're kind of like whatever, brown down, right? Or maybe the beginning of the season, I don't know, but how important is it to think about sustainability, you know, on land and with animals and letting them grow and all of that, you know?
I think it's become much more normalized, which is a good thing, right? Mm-hmm. You see a lot more people getting into planting the food plots, and they're you know, looking into the minerals and this, that, and the other. Still, people put out salt blocks, which drives me batshit crazy. But, you know, I know you'll probably edit that out, but I don't care. But it's
no way that stays. I tell people if you send it, it's there.
I'm in full send mode, but yep. It's good because, you know, now they're more interested because you hit the nail on the head. Land's at a premium. Mm-hmm. You know, the leased land in the Midwest, you're looking at $3,800 an acre.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, it's people are real interested in their deer herd, you know, in their turkey population, their predator control, and you know they're taking an investment in it. You know, you're going to have the weekend warriors that, you know, they might go out and hunt the first weekend of the season, and if they don't kill, they piss on. I'm just going to go home. Right. But guys like me and you will eventually get there where, you know, I hunted almost 400 days, or not 400 days. Wow. I hunted almost days last year, and it was tough. Yeah. Yeah. That in some absolutely hellacious weather, but I was after 2 different bucks and I didn't end up getting them. Yeah. So.
And then, I mean, people that don't watch shows or videos and stuff, but like the trail cams, like people actually know their deer that are on their property or that are coming back, right? And they're like, that's the one I want. And you're waiting for that. They're not just, when you're at that level, it's really cool when you can pick out your animal and you know what you're looking for.
Yeah. And the funny thing about that is I had posted a picture of a buck that I was after on a Facebook thing. And I very seldom go on Facebook, but I posted it on this Missouri thing. And this guy goes, hey, you want the pictures from him earlier in the year? And I went, where the hell are you hunting? Hunting the adjacent farm.
Wow.
So that became, hey, I saw him on this section here. He's chasing does over on this section. We literally were tag teaming this deer. Neither one of them.
No, got it. That's so cool.
Yeah, and he's still alive. Yeah.
How big is he now?
Oh, he's a friggin' giant. I'll message you the picture of him. He's freaking.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Oh, I could talk about that all day and all night. So anything else you want to talk about in that realm of things?
Did I lose you? No,
I mean,
it's, you know, hunting is obviously a big thing with me. But now my new addiction's multi-gun and that type of thing. So,
which we're about to get into, but I want to make sure you got any final thoughts there.
No, it's multi-gun is definitely, I've got the addiction.
I want to ask you at the beginning too. Have you shot the tactical games?
No, but that is on my bucket list. And sitting there with Brian, and he's like, "You're awful quiet." And I said, "I'm literally digesting everything." Mm-hmm. And he says, "Why?" I said, "Because I'm going to do this next year." Mm-hmm. And I was talking to Sarah, who was one of the coordinators, and she's just jacked. And for the woman that is coordinating tactical games, it just throw it out there. Oh yeah, I ran 18 miles before I came here. Are you nuts? Right. I run when I'm getting chased or chasing someone. I don't.
And even then, not so much.
Right. But, you know, I think I was watching guys, you know, that were, you know, around my age group, and they're running and they're huffing. I'm like, this is the stuff that I want to do.
Yeah. Do you want to start in like the beginners though, at least of the tactical games, like the Sprint or whatever.
No, I mean, I want to do them all.
Yeah.
I'm the one that is going to go full feet. I mean,
Yeah.
it's going, if I'm going all in. I'm not going to, go around the bush or, with the whole.
Have you
Yeah.
looked up all the gun requirements? Sorry, I keep interrupting. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, have you looked up all the gun changes too? Like it's so different from 3-gun. You go back from a muzzle brake, then you just can have a flash hider, and you can't have this type of sights, and everything changes.
It was funny because I saw some people that I recognized from the 3-gun world, and I'm looking at their setups. I'm like, yep, you still got the pink AR, but you don't have the muzzle brake you had on there before. So yeah.
And it goes back to like divisions, I think, of when you talk about 3-gun, sure, but like even USVSA kind of levels the field a smidge. I'm gonna start in a small like entry because I don't like running.
Yeah.
I don't think I can pull myself up a rope either.
Well, yeah, that's gonna take some work.
I'll do the penalty burpees, like.
Yeah, no kidding. But it's what cracked me up was you get this 110-pound girl that is running through the stage, and she gets to the sandbag, and now bear in mind it rained for 2 days, so that 50-pound sandbag now became a 100-pound sandbag, and you hear her cussing from 100 yards away. It's just funny. Oh, it was great. But they again, it's multi-gun. Everybody was having a good time.
Absolutely. Oh, okay. So are you shooting tack or are you shooting open for 3-gun?
I'll shoot tack.
Yeah. Do you like quad loading?
You know what? I tried it once, but I'm sitting there. I sponsor Rachel Maggio, and I was watching her load at Texas, and I'm like, how the fuck does she do that? And her mom and dad are like family, so I'm sitting there. I'm like, Amy, can you? Because she's getting into 3-gun now, and it's like, can you do that? She goes, no, I can't do it. I mean, I've tried it, and I fumbled. They're falling all over the floor. But if I'm going to get into it, as far as 3-gun, I might do tact for that simple fact. But I was watching Addie on one stage, and she ran this freaking shotgun. I'm just like, I need.
Yeah.
So I got my hands on a Vepr mag. So I sent it to my guy in New York to make me a mold. So that's coming very, very soon.
Cool. That's exciting.
Yes.
So, what is it? Well, are you going to sign up for 3-gun this year or looking at next year, or what's going to be the first match?
I'm going to probably do some local matches the remainder of the summer. I still got to get a shotgun, that's 3-gun ready. Yeah. But I've got an AR that's should be legal. The matches, it might be a little short, but I know a guy that has them like right outside that door. So yeah, I don't have a problem getting one. But then again, I know Keith from 5150 is coming out with a new rifle platform, so I am anxiously awaiting that.
Cool.
Yeah, waiting to see these. These are beautiful.
That's awesome. So what's your favorite gun to shoot then? Not shotgun is what I'm hearing right now.
Well, no, I love shotgun, but I just don't have one that's 3-gun ready, with the like 8-foot two.
In the foot, yeah.
Probably mechanics. I am definitely a fanatic as far as. I cannot wait to shoot the rival. That's why I'm waiting for SHOT Show.
Yeah.
I've been messaging back and forth with them, and it's just like, come on, just let me have it. I literally got everyone in their line. I just need that one to complete it. It's just not. Yeah. But as far as a striker fire Canic is by far the best in the industry. I don't care what anybody says.
I agree, and the price for sure. I mean, I love my 2011. My Atlas, that's my favorite gun. Sorry. Period, hands down, end of story. But I bought 2 SFXs for $1,000, and I'm like, okay.
Well, it's funny. Amy Maggio comes up to me at Texas. She's like, I've got something for you. You're gonna be. And I said, what? And she said, I need a holster. I'm getting the 3-gun, but I've got something for you. And Dan, her dad, just go out to the car and get it. So she goes out to the car and brings it in. It was a Cerakoted that Copper Ridge did for her. SFX champagne. It was rose I can't remember the Cerakote name for it, but I had to match a holster for it. And I was just in awe because I was just like so proud. I was like, oh, this is so great. But as far as hammer fire, I've yet to fire an Atlas. I've been talking to him back and forth because I've got an order for an Artemis that I've got to make a holster for. Yeah. And of course, holds. But
yeah, you need the guns.
Well, yeah, if there was one, okay. But Staccato being, they are
Tactical games for sure. Is that their market?
well. I've run them. Oh my god.
Yeah, but you haven't shot an Atlas.
I know.
Just come talk to me when that day comes. We won't even argue about it till it happens.
All right. Yeah, we'll make a date to go shoot some steel next match I see you at. That'll
There
work.
you go. I work with a company out in California, Range out there, and you can rent the freaking STI like Combat Master and the Glock Combat Master. See, those are sweet guns. Are still not up there, but oh my god, I'm like, that's not fair. I want one of those.
Right. Well, my big thing is they discontinued the DVC.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got two friends of mine. They're here in Texas, but they're part of Lima Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
And they need holsters. And I'm like, I need the gun. I can't get my hands on it. And, I half tempted to email Tony and say, hey, I just need the molds. I don't need the guns, just need you to make me the molds.
Tony, you're my favorite person. I love him so much. I was telling him when I first met him, I was like, you get paid to bullshit and like lie and like just run your mouth.
Yep.
And he's the best dude ever. Okay, yeah. Tony's my favorite.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, any final nuggets, advice, tips, or anything you want to leave people with?
Just when you're shopping a holster, if you're whether you shop it from me, which obviously would be the preferred method, get what you paid for. There's too many eBay holsters. There's too many, the $49 specials that you'll pick up at Academy that may or may not fit your gun, when you finally get it home. Do your research, make sure they're using, a much better material than the average Joe. The actual attachment hardware is also very, very important. On my everyday carry, my inside the waistband, I use exclusively Ulti-Clip. It goes back to the customer service. It's bar none. They stand behind their product, and that's what I do. So, I won't go with anybody else, but also expect longer lead times on, the true custom holster, which is one that are made to order. We don't have them in stock. We make one at a time. So, expect to wait, 2 to 3 weeks, just as, depending on how busy they are. Yep. Stay away from the mass produced stuff. It's not as good as everybody.
If a holster fits multiple guns, that is not a holster.
Yeah, that is Tupperware.
Yeah, that's a Tupperware. It's a container. And the other thing too, don't be afraid to call up your guy.
Yeah. No, and you know what? My phone number, it rings to multiple phones. So if I don't answer right away, you leave a message or, reaching out to us on social media. Instagram has been absolutely phenomenal as far as that's concerned. People are able to, see my products, see who's wearing it and utilizing it and so forth.
Love it. So Steve, how do they, what's your website and how do they find you on social media?
Our website is spectreholsters.com. You can find us on Instagram, just looking up Spectre Holsters will ping our main page. Sierra Delta site that has all of our partner photos and stuff on it. That's also on there, which is also linked through our social media. But yeah, and we also have a Facebook page, which is spectreholsters.com.
Love it. And I don't know too, at the end of this, do you want to mention anything about Lima Charlie and Battle Buddy 3-Gun?
Yes. Jeff Combs, it's kind of funny. Ran into him as right after we made Sarah's shirts with another company. And we were getting, we were, and it was one of those things, we were getting ready for a reorder and said other company kind of screwed us. But Jeff was local to the shop. I mean, within like 5-10 miles, and he showed up to bring Daniel some samples to hang up in the shop. And he's just a good dude, right? Yeah. Heart of gold, so on and so forth. So I was trying to figure out, okay, I need, I guess a token shirt, if you want to call it this. So I came up with the idea of fuck around and find out. Well, went through it. He put them out. It went off very, very well. But yeah, and then, he had the keep calm, return fire. And one of our mottos is keep calm, carry undetected. That's more the E type thing. Yep. So we made some tops, but put Team Spectre along the butt, and I throw out the disclaimer: the lady that buys that shirt, I'm not responsible for the broken noses of the dudes that were staring at your butt. They were probably reading their shirt. But yeah, we came out with those. Currently, he's trying to get our new logo set up for the Team Spectre shirts.
Cool.
But he's become a brother to me. When America's Armory shut down, he just opened up his shop and said, "Hey, I've got a corner for you until you're ready to head south." So literally he's got pictures of me, making holsters in his shop, and coming out of work and going in there until it was, midnight, 1 o'clock.
So much fun. I enjoyed having him on the podcast big time.
Oh, he's an absolute riot.
Plus we got to gang up on Brian. So it was like the best time ever.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I had met Jeff, so I was like, oh, we're already fast friends.
Oh, he's just hysterical. And it's 3-gun matches with them. Bear in mind, I told you I was literally leaving the match, coming here, making equipment to bring back to the match for shooters. So I didn't get a chance to partake in the typical House of Lima Charlie, which is generally a very, very good time.
Fun time, yeah.
Yeah. So, but that whole crew, it's great. You got Mario, you got,
Jack,
Frank.
I was going to say the Grip It and Ribbit shirts. Don't forget that.
Oh no, he's got a lot of things coming down the pipe.
Oh, I love Jack. Yeah. He was on the podcast before. His episode will come out before this. So
yeah, no, the whole Lima Charlie team is just, they've embraced, they're handling all our fulfillment for our garments now, which is fantastic.
I met Drew on the East Coast. Sorry. I love those guys too. And I'm like, dude, you got to come back and shoot.
Yeah. But Battle Buddies, it was funny when he introduced that to us. It was just like, yeah, this is pretty cool. And then I started, of course, like everybody does, you Google it and you start stalking their page.
Yep.
It's like, damn. So then, I actually went over to his shop, and I think we were talking about the t-shirts at that time. I said, well, let me see this chair. So, we're looking at it and so on and so forth. I'm like, damn, this is cool. Mm-hmm. So I watched a couple matches, and then when he came out and he started SeaTac Industries, and, when he came out with his chair, and I said, you know what? I said, I got an idea. So we're working on something for wheelchair bound firearm enthusiasts right now that I've got a Gen 1 down. He's testing. He's ready for Gen 2. Cool. So we got something coming.
We got to figure out how to put shotgun caddies and holsters on the actual, chair and all that goodness.
That's already done.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't wait. So thank you, Steve. Thanks for being on this. I know we went so far down in time, and I absolutely love it because this was so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So for those listening, go check out Spectre Holsters. And Steve, obviously, we'll talk your ear off. So give him a call. All right, guys. See you next week.
All right. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the Reticle Up podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Follow along on social media at Reticle Up or 3Gun Kenzie.